Hey, and welcome to Unlearning Stress, the podcast where we break the rules and cycles that keep you overcommitted, overstretched, and just plain exhausted, and replace them with something better. No fluff, no guilt, just real talk, real solutions, and expert insights to help you shift the way you live. Whether you're here for the first time or you've been with me for a while, you're in the right place. I'm Michelle O'Neill, your resident emotional wellness coach, and I'm here to help you unlearn the patterns that are wearing you down so you can live with more ease, clarity, and control. Let's get to it.
I've learned something about myself over the years, and I wonder if maybe it's true for you too. I used to move fast. I mean, lightning fast, like fast at everything. My family called me Mighty Mouse. People at work would hear me coming down the hallway, and just by how quick I was walking, they knew it was me. Oh, I knew you were coming up behind me, right? They didn't even need to see me, and they just knew it was me. And I wore that like a badge of honor. Fast meant, well, I was productive. Fast meant I was dependable. Hey, fast meant I was showing up. But here's the thing that I didn't see. Fast also became my way of skipping over the things that actually mattered, like people, not on purpose. But when you move like that all the time, you stop noticing things. You stop checking how you say things, or really looking at what people are saying, or hearing them, or looking at their face, and you stop listening, not just to other people, but you know what? To yourself. And you stop feeling, and you miss things, the important things. And somewhere along the line, I started calling that rhythm that I was in, that fast pace, that Supergirl, that was my superpower. It was normal. It was like exhaustion was just part of the deal. It meant that I was getting things done, that I was on fire. Like rest? What's that? That was something that I'd get to eventually, because it wasn't that important, because I had things to do, so I'd get to it when everything was done. But the truth is, everything is never done. And I had to learn that the hard way. And you know what I've started to wonder? Now that I've created a rhythm, that that is actually healthy for me. Now that I've learned to live a little slower, not lazy, I'm not talking about being lazy or retired mindset or whatever. I'm talking about slowing down to that point where you're beginning to be aligned. And I look back and I think, how did I ever make it? How did we as women make it? How do we as women make it? Always on, always doing the things, always going to school, taking care of the kids, working, getting that project done, going to church, being with the community, going with the girls' night out. Do I need to keep going on? How do we survive living like that for so long? Because for so many of us, we're always, you heard me, we're always on. We're firing like pistons in an engine that never gets turned off. And for a while, that feels normal. That feels like, well, that's what strong women do. And I'm a strong woman, I'm a queen. And you just keep going. You keep feeding that machine. You keep filling the gaps, not because you have the margin, but because you can't imagine what would happen if you didn't. And really, that machine, that pace, it was never designed for 24/7. That's not how we work. And when you don't stop it, when you just keep it running because it's what everyone expects, it doesn't make you strong or stronger. It just makes you breakable. It kind of reminds me of, I think of a factory and how you have machines in the factory, and some factories they run and they end at the end of the day, say 5 o'clock, or do a second shift and end at 11 o'clock, and some run 24/7, right? And that machine, they just keep feeding it because it still needs to get that project out. Ooh, who does that sound like? And so they keep feeding that. And then it becomes, especially the ones that work 24/7, it becomes to the point that you don't even expect them to have a life. You know how most things, we have our TVs and all those things have a life, our computers have a life. But when it comes to equipment that's working continually like that, the life is when it breaks down. So they just keep working it until it breaks. Are you hearing me? And when you keep it running, because that's what everyone expects, it doesn't make you stronger. It just makes you breakable. And most of the time, we don't stop until something forces us to, like sick, breakdown, hurt. Because when you're working so hard like that, you make mistakes because you're not functioning at high level. So you fall, you cut yourself. I'm not saying that you don't normally do this, but even more so. And your relationships start to suffer. The body that stops cooperating, it doesn't work. And by then, the damage is already done. So let me name what this looks like, because I know you've been there. You feel every gap in your day. Even when you try to rest, your mind is already multitasking, which is a fallacy, but I won't get on that one. But your mind is already firing on all the things that you need to do. You feel guilty watching other people rest. And sometimes, if you're honest, you judge them for it. But deep down, you're you're envious. Why can't I do that? Why can't I just stop? I got too much to do. I ain't got time to stop like that. Must be nice. Ooh, did you hear that one? Because part of you want that too. Part of you is desperate to feel rested, not just say you're resting. But here's the crack in that. What you've called rest is actually been collapsed. You don't rest as a rhythm, you crash as a last result. You hold out until you've earned it. And then you give yourself just enough of a break to keep going, not to actually recover. Just enough to keep going where you don't fall into total breakdown. That's not rest. That's making it through. If you want to call it that, it's survival. Even though at that pace, you're not surviving. And you know what? Most of us don't even call it what it is: burnout. We just call it being, oh, I'm responsible. I'm making sure that I take care of everything I need to take care of. They know they can depend on me, right? Because you're the one everyone calls. You're the one who holds it all together. You don't get to fall apart. Not really. Girl, who would take care of you if you fell apart? Even if you do break, you break efficiently, quietly. Nobody knows you're breaking. Nobody knows you're falling apart. And then you just get back up again and keep going. And they never even saw the stumble, that glitch. So you learn how to keep moving while you're cracking, falling apart. You learn how to patch the holes and still show up. You've learned how to collapse inwardly while looking composed outwardly. Here's a good analogy. You've learned how to just take them stockings off with that big hole so no one ever knew that you fell down. But the danger in this is this: eventually, the collapse catches you, it catches up to what you're living. And it shows up in your sleep, shows up in your body, in your relationships. Oh, yeah, in your joy or lack thereof. And what's worse, you start to believe that this is just, well, it's just how it is. It's life. That you're the strong one, and strong means tired. No one has time. Everybody else is doing the same thing you're doing. Everybody else is going at the same pace you're going. Other people can fall apart, right? But not you. Because if you stop, everything stops. So you keep going, even when it's costing you. But I want to say something that might hit you close in the gut. I hope it does. You're not being strong, you're being stretched. And stretched isn't sustainable. Eventually, that rubber band breaks. And you know what? It doesn't have to. It really doesn't. So let me walk with you a minute, because this next part, you're probably not even aware that you're doing it. It just feels like life. You wake up already thinking of everything that needs to be done before you even hit that floor. You're not lazy. You're not dramatic. You're just always on. Every hour in your day has a task attached to it. Even your moments of rest are measured. Can I squeeze this in before I go? Is there time for this before dinner, before the meeting, before bedtime? You've trained yourself to move fast, not because it's fun, but because it's the only way to keep up with the pace that you've created. You know how long everything takes. You even timed it just so you can have enough time to do everything that you need to do. I mean, you're a master at this. You rehearse it, you strategize it, and anything that throws it off, even if it's a good thing, it puts you in a tailspin because you didn't allow for that time. You're not scattered, you're saturated. You're holding so much that if one thing drops, you feel like everything will fall. And the thing that most people don't talk about, this feels like strength. This pace, this planning, this pushing, it makes you feel sharp. On top of it, it's your edge. You're the difference maker. You're proof that you're not like everybody else because you can hold it all together. And I get it, because for a long time, that was my high. Oh, I was fast. I was quick. You wanted it done, say let's. I say go. I got you. I'm going to make it happen. That was my identity. I could see solutions fast. I could move fast. I could think fast. I was the one person counted on to be fast. But what I didn't realize, that speed was costing me something sacred. Because what looked like power was really pressure. And that pressure didn't just live in my calendar. Honey, it lived in my body. Women are processing so much, so constantly, that scientists now know we need more rest than men just to recover, not just emotionally, but neurologically. We actually process information up to 5 times faster than men. and our hormone cycles disrupt our sleep more often. That means rest isn't a reward for women, it's a requirement biologically, not just spiritually. So if you've ever wondered why you don't feel better after a nap, why that quick walk or that long bath didn't refill you, it's not because something's wrong with you. It's because your rest isn't reaching deep enough to reset your brain. And that's not all. There's something that researchers call time poverty, and it disproportionately affects women. We carry more of the unpaid responsibility, more of the housework, more of the caregiving, more of the emotional load, and less of the recovery time. So while the world is telling you to just breathe or take 15 minutes to yourself, they're not telling you that the system is set up for you to fail at that. They're not telling you that your exhaustion isn't personal, it's cultural and spiritual and neurological. So let me say this to you as clearly as I can. You're not tired because you're doing it wrong. You're tired because you've trained yourself to run on pressure and then blame yourself when you crash. This isn't laziness. This is collapse. And collapse is not God's rhythm. It's a fake. That's not rest. It's collapse. And I didn't even realize that I was doing it until nothing wasn't working. I was still showing up, still getting things done, still handling what needed to be handled, but I could feel it in my spirit. It was like the energy wasn't there. My actions felt flat. The things I used to do, the way I moved, the way I produced, it wasn't landing, it wasn't hitting. And it took me a long time to name what was really going on because I was still me. I was still sharp. I was still quick, but it wasn't hidden anymore. And I think it's because we don't always know what rest really is. Yeah, I said that. We think rest is just stopping. Take a nap, take a bath, take a vacation, a breather. But if that's all it is, why do we still feel tired when we come back? I think the only way we see the difference, the only way we wake up to what we've been missing is when the rhythm gets interrupted. And for me, in order for that to happen, COVID had to come along. I wasn't walking the halls anymore. I wasn't rushing from thing to thing. And even though I found other ways to stay busy, because I did, it wasn't the same. That constant goal that used to feel like purpose, it didn't have power anymore. And that's when it hit me. Most of us have never really felt rest. We don't know what we're missing because we've never experienced anything different. That's why I do the reset. That's why I meet with my women and I get them to go through the experience so that we can interrupt that pattern. Because once you feel what it's supposed to feel like, when your mind settles, when your body breathes, when your spirit gets quiet, then you finally realize, ooh, this is what I've been needing. We're not lazy. We're not fractured, cracked, broken. We're just wired to carry so much that we've never had the chance to feel anything else. We're not survivors. No, we're builders, we're nurturers, we're doers, we're movers and shakers. And since the beginning of time, that's who we've been. But somewhere along the way, we stopped asking if what we're doing is breaking us. We just call it necessary. We just call it being strong. But being strong doesn't mean running on empty. And if collapse is the only time that you stop, that you pause, then that's not rhythm. That's ruin. And it's not sustainable. So here's what I want you to do this week. I want you to just watch yourself. I'm not asking you to change everything overnight. I'm not giving you a morning routine. I'm not handing you another fix. All I want you to do is this. When you do stop, when you finally sit down, when the kids are quiet or work is done, or you grab 5 minutes for yourself, I just want you to pay attention. Do you feel restored? Or do you still feel tight, wired, worn down? Does it feel like you're in rhythm? Or does it feel like collapse? Because that answer, that one moment of awareness, will tell you everything. And if you're starting to realize, I don't even know what real rest feels like, then I want to personally invite you to the experience. And it's designed to break that survival rhythm that you're in right now and give you the space, the stillness, and the reset that you don't even know you were craving. Because you don't need another nap. You need something that shifts you from the inside out. And I'd love to be the one to show you what that feels like. So just respond reset at the link in the comments. Next week, we're going to be digging into something a little deeper, the fear that if you pause, people might think that you're weak. But I don't want to go there yet. First, I just want you to notice that's the beginning of everything. Until next time, take care and thank you for being here with me today.
If this episode hits home, don't just push it aside. Lean into it. Subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And connect with me on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Substack, where we go even deeper. Links will be in the comments. And if you're ready to start unlearning the patterns that keep you stuck, keep listening, because real change happens one choice at a time. I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.